It's time for the chip race.
Well, 2014 was a big year for our third and final guest tonight. He won the Winamax Poker Open for $75,000 back in September. But before we get him in here to reveal the secrets of his success, I'd like to play a song from his 2008 album Kitt Happens. This is I Ain't Coming Home Tonight by Tom Kitt.
Bruise on my face and a cut on my lip and a lump on the back of my head that don't feel so right. You know the blood on your guitar ain't the same as the blood on your knuckle after you've been in a fight. If you saw me now, you'd probably get an awful fright. And that's why, baby, I ain't coming home tonight. Oh, you women can tell me just about anything you wanna tell me. There's one thing I know for sure. There ain't nothing more unattractive to a woman than a man that's insecure. You need a man with confidence just in case you wanna hold him tight. And that's why, baby, I ain't coming home tonight. I ain't coming home tonight, cause I lost all my money on poker. You know I got so drunk that I thought my jack was a joker. And the girl at the end of the bar, you know I shouldn't have spoke to her. But I'm searching out for something that I can't find. It's probably all in my mind. Looking for the wrong things in the wrong places, trying to make shit right. And that's why, baby, I ain't coming home tonight. Whenever you don't like what I'm doing or I'm looking, you just come up to me and make things clear. See, that's the difference between me and you, baby. I think honesty's my biggest fear. But when I say I love you, it still means I love you. So let's not have a fight. It just means, baby, I ain't coming home tonight. I ain't coming home tonight, cause I lost all my money on poker. You know I got so drunk that I thought my jack was a joker. And the girl at the end of the bar, you know I shouldn't have spoke to her. But I'm searching out for something that I can't find. It's probably all in my mind. Looking for the wrong things in the wrong places, trying to make shit right. And that's why, baby, I ain't coming home tonight. And that's why, baby, I ain't coming home tonight.
So, first things first, Tom, I'm curious, how apoplectic drunk did you have to be to think your jack was a joker?
Oh, yes. Well, you know, have you ever been in the jackpot?
I thought it was from the jackpot. That was my guess, actually, that it was like all based on Montague Street.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of, just those feelings. You know, it's like, it's a tiny reference to Song of the Poker, but it's essentially, I was trying to think of the song, I ain't coming home tonight.
You wrote it, Tom, you must remember the song.
Yeah, it's all about those insecurities you have and those mess up things that you have. You don't want to face your woman afterwards, you know, so it's like the girl you're going out with. So all those reasons why you wouldn't go home, you know, you got too drunk, you lost all your money, you're feeling insecure, you know. So all
and were there bad nights? There were a lot of bad nights like that back in the day?
Oh, no, not at all. I wrote a lot of songs.
Who were they really about? Were you just putting yourself in the character
that's
of some
the
of your
thing,
friends?
actually. I wrote a lot of songs about the fear of becoming the gambler, you know. And like, so, but like you would have the odd night like that. Often when you're like a little drunk or something like that and you did something stupid and it's the feeling the next day, the guilt or whatever. So I did write songs about don't ever become that guy, you know. So it was like, you know, the worst case scenario and I'm playing the character.
Okay. And what year did you start in poker?
I started.
I think you're here longer than Darren and I.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were playing in the sporting around the time I started already.
Yeah,
so.
as in my path was, you know, kind of a disjointed one. Like I was working in IT at the time, and I was definitely like, okay, you know, as in I was the one who won at the family games, you know, and then I was the one who won in work. We used to play every lunchtime in the boardroom, and like we even had this weird rule where you had like, if you had one chip left, you still got all the pot.
Nice. I like that rule.
I made it up, so I was already looking for edges then, and they stopped that rule. And then, the pub game down the coach house, I think I won it like 5 weeks in a row. It's been like that dude in JP's game or something, he's done some. And obviously, whatever, running good. But one thing I was good, because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was really good at knowing the tendencies of the other guys who really didn't know what they were doing, So, there was this guy, Mr. Fox. He told you what he had every time, and this guy would never, This guy would never fold.
But it's all coming from that live background. Like, that's clearly the core of it, is that it was picking up on guys across the table in work.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And then, then it was venturing into the sports. And when you're playing music then, because, we got the redundancy in work, and I don't even remember that SSIA. So I thought I was real invincible. Hey, I'm going to create an album, man. Just
I'd say a lot of SSIA schemes were burnt over the years.
Yeah, so obviously good crack, but I didn't know what I was doing in that sense either. And then when you kind of finish promoting an album, and I did this big gig in Whelan's, it was great crack, and I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? And it's tough flogging something, when you when it's peaked at certain things, and then if things aren't happening, and then it's like, all right, well, I gotta go write another album, that'll take ages and a lot of spare time. So and then I started venturing into the sports, on my own, and oh my god, the thrill of it all. I remember first of all, not doing well at all, being totally intimidated, and then getting to my first final table and doing something. I think I remember it was I had ace-6 of diamonds, which is actually my exit hand last night, and I'm making a mistake with it, and then going home and literally not sleeping, 10 hours rolling around in the bed,
just haunted.
Yeah, haunted by whatever it is. And so obviously, whatever that is, that scars your brain into some sort of experience.
Yeah.
So and then also the whole the heart rate for the whole night when you're there, keeping you going and thinking about it. And so you're kind of obsessed with it, And I was so that, and then that, and then that, and so an obsession becoming a, I guess a hobby. And then did play cash for a while and started making a few quid.
And were you balancing with the music at the same time?
Yeah, it was kind of, I was starting to do a bit more of the poker. Because as I said earlier on, the music thing, I'd already done this kind of little tour and this big gig. So then I was getting a little bit oh, what do I do now? And I nothing was really happening in the music. So I felt like I was kind of annoying people a bit. I don't know. I don't know if you can get like that. But then I just started, this whole live tournament thing came around, So it's all right, I'm going to play one big festival, and get there, can't get past day one, So how do I do it? I remember I said at the Irish Open, I just sat there looking at guys on day two, for the whole day, So I got knocked out or something, and I just looked at them and I said, all right, what's going on? Because I didn't know what happened in day two.
What do
I was
do?
just obsessed with making a day two, I was and then I just kind of went on a few runs back in the day, and I was still really inexperienced. I think Doka was at one of my first final table. That was my first day 3, and it was the worst I've ever played in my life. Just totally lost the head, and I had all the chips because I just went on a big run. And I was playing like a maniac as well because it was great crack when you're running good and you I was just raise every hand, whatever. But then I was whenever anyone, it was a good structured tournament, so anyone clever like Go was just waiting for aces against me,
sure.
And I was just sticking in 4s or whatever, no problem. But yeah, so I came 5th in that, and then I had a good run in the. I don't know, I'm going to go on a bit, but it was basically every stage I was just trying to got to get to that stage, got to that stage, and then I was really looking for the
And what
win,
year are we in now? What year are you thinking
so
to yourself, I'm doing it, this is my living now, or this is my
I
job
don't know if I ever
now?
thought about it as living, because first of all, I didn't think I was that good because I was never really beaten online. So I knew I was a lot of fundamental problems because I'd kind of skipped a lot of that stage. I'd kind of gone through this organic, lively route.
Yeah, well, a lot of people go that way.
Yeah, so I knew I wasn't this big student of the game, and I could even tell by talking to a lot of people I remember even Chubbs at the time, even Rory Brown at the time, Seamus Cahill. I knew they'd put a bit more work in on the study side where I was, but then I was just gradually trying to patch up those things as I went along. And then I think it was more a case of when I was actually thinking, I was getting really serious with my girlfriend, fiance now, and it was a year or two ago, and I was oh, maybe I need a career. And I was thinking, oh crap, it's actually going to be a bit harder here, because of all this gap, this big music gap, and now this gambling gap.
What were you doing in this period of your
so
life?
Then I was all right, I got to take this even more seriously. And then I really knuckled down a bit more, just trying to at least beat low to mid stakes online, so I could just bring home some bacon. And then the live thing, just getting better and better at the live thing, just from the experience.
Yeah, well, look, the live, you've been playing for a long time, but it's definitely over the last 2 years that you've had this uptick. You know, you've had these kind of bigger results. There was a big one in Vegas. There was a big one, the Celtic Poker Tour. I know was a couple of years ago as well. But it's been since then that these live results have been
they were
coming along.
like, you know, I suppose the UK IBT final table was the first one, and against Max Silver, you know, and Ronan Gilligan. They were the three guys there at the last stage of that one, and then. Yeah, but then there was kind of a bit of a gap, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to rely on these scores. So then I kind of fixed up a bit of the online stuff. And CPT. But then CPT led to Vegas straight after. And I was like, I brought over whatever. Like, sold a lot. I was always selling to the GOAT. And like he's always when I met the GOAT, it was probably one of the biggest things, you know? Like early on, like it'd be Rory Brown was the guy who taught me a lot of stuff, you know? And all those guys in the sports. Seamus Cahill I sat beside him in cash games for ages, you know, and he's an amazing player.
Brilliant player.
Like I learned loads from him. And then the GOAT was really like, I think the GOAT just kind of figured out, like, I was talking about stuff, and I don't know if I articulated it as well as some other guys, but he kind of knew what was going on, like, that I kind of knew the crack of that style of game. So, and I just learned lots from him. And then from him, like, the only thing about when you're at the GOAT, there you can be a bit more swingy, like, in terms of how you play. But he's on top of the game, you know what I mean? In terms
Sean is just he's so solid on the theory. Like he's the one guy.
He's just his answer. He answers so quickly, you know.
And he's been around for so long. He's probably around like 13, 14 years.
Well, when I came on the scene, Sean was already probably, you know, one of the top 3 players in Ireland at that stage. He's just been around forever, it seems, and he's remained totally current as well all through that time, both online and live.
Yeah, no, he's willing to not be set in his ways, I think, you know. So he's willing to handle the trends in the game. And like within, you know, there's a structure. You know, we're bound by structure in MTTs. So you have to go through trends, you know, often, as opposed to like, you know, theory just going to go out the window like to the river.
Yeah. But also the thing is, you have a reputation as a bit of a closer. Like I was looking at your Hendon Mob, and it's actually a bit weird because I think 3/4 of the tournaments you've played, you final of the tournaments you've cashed, you final tabled. And of them, 1/4 of the tournaments you've cashed in, you've won.
Right,
that's an insane.
Didn't even know that.
That's an insane closing rate. Like, do you find that when you get short-handed, that's when your game comes into its own?
I don't know, because I didn't do it there recently, you know, in the deep stack, and you know, there was a couple of problems. Maybe back to that whole thing that, you know, that regret, you know. So when I don't do it, I mull over it big time, you know. Like I know, don't get me wrong, it's like I won't mull over some variance problem, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you're getting lucky, you're getting lucky. But if there was something that was in my control, and there are a lot of things in your control, you know, like huge big merge spots, you know what I mean? When you just have a bit of showdown, and like you can maybe just merge a big shove in the river and get this massive momentum, you know what I mean? Like putting the pressure on. Like in that 6-handed tournament, I got the chip lead with 72 out, and I just went bananas. Because
the key to those 6-handed games is you can't play hands. You have to actually play garbage all week. So
like
you're really tested on your
5-handed so often as well, and it's like even the best players because it's like when you've got the chips, it's just your time to pound, like, you know. And good players recognize that they're not going to go just take it if they've got the awkward stack. They've got, like, you know, I'll fold for hours on end if I've got the awkward stack. And so in a couple of those, like after not doing it in certain tournaments, because I was pretty good. Also, you know, I got to realize I'm always like, it's like low to mid stakes as well. Like I've never done anything big over like a 1k buy-in. So it's definitely something to do with playing the amateur players that I'm good at. Like in
and the French players maybe.
Yeah, the French players.
Specifically just those French guys.
I think it's more those guys who have that emotion, because I think I have all those emotions, because, you know, I'm more of a songwriter really than a kind of a robot. So I kind of recognise, you know,
their poetic souls, how to exploit them.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. Well, maybe, but who knows, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess the French are particularly expressive. They don't really see it as a virtue to bottle up their emotions. In terms of, like, my perception of you, Tom, is like you've obviously been around for a long time, and I remember at the start of your career, you were the kind of guy that people would say you would have a huge stack, and then maybe 2 or 3 tables out it would go wrong. Yeah. And that's definitely changed in the last couple of years, particularly in the D4 events. Do you think that's down to the improvements that you mentioned that you put into your game, or do you think variance is a bigger factor?
No, definitely. I think it's definitely to do with improvements and like experience, you know, when you get like essentially now I come into like a final table bubble situation or a shorthanded situation, and I go, all right, well, that guy over there, I remember I was him, and he's about to do what I did 3 years ago, you know. And like you get this at the low to mid stakes. Like, I know it's high stakes, but you know what I mean. You mightn't get it at a higher stakes tournament, so then you really have to kind of take on guys, and like maybe I'll fail there. But I notice it that where I've made the big mistakes, like let's say in some of the big ones, final tables I made, or like that. I remember that the Ladbrokes one, you know, when I had the chip lead there.
That one sticks out.
Yeah, I got it in with a big flush draw, blind on blind, and I was in bed for 2 days, like thinking about it. So like obviously that's a horrible experience. But then the aftermath is when you get there, you get that chance again. You do have the experience. Like they say it's so big in other sports, so it has to be big.
And what's next? Vegas.
For me, it's in loads. It's great crack actually at the moment. I'm grinding away. I'm living in Galway. I was so worried I had no internet, but I have a little 4G on my phone. Hotspot's working perfectly. So I'm putting the head down, just grinding out, like just massive volume, low to mid stakes. Norwegian going to play the Connacht Open, going to play the Norwegian Masters, going to play the Irish Open, hopefully, and whatever else is going. And then Vegas for 1 month.
1 month?
Yeah,
okay, great.
I know.
Do you have your accommodation all sorted?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Pam's place.
Nice.
10 of us in the studio.
That's where everybody seems to be staying this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but don't get me wrong. I was thinking about you, Lappin, because I'm like as I say to Goat, I don't do makeup because I can't afford to do makeup. So, and I've been ticking over nicely there the last few months, paying some bills,
Yeah.
And like, as I know you've all written a few blogs about like. Because you go to Vegas, the worst thing about live trips is if it doesn't work out, you've got like 10k makeup or 10k to work off.
Yeah, you're giving up the next 3 months.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
In 90% of worlds.
Yeah, of bills,
Yeah.
which is.
No, well, it's well known in the Irish poker scene that I always stay home and grind.
Oh, I
online
know.
when
I was like,
everyone's away.
I was really freaking out, and I was actually thinking like, because I've had that, like I've had a bad Australian trip, I've had a bad Vegas trip, and I've come back.
Okay, Tom. Before you go, we have a little pop quiz.
All right.
Poker trivia in general, and maybe some specifically Tom Kitt trivia in general. What famous event took place on the day that Poker Stars launched? I'm going to have to hurry you.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. The first ever Sunday Million?
It probably was, but no, September the 11th, 2001.
Oh, right. Jeez. Okay.
Which member of the Hendon mob has won the Irish Open?
Which member of the Hendon mob? Roland the Wolf?
I'm afraid he's not a member of the Hendon mob.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah. Barney
Go on,
Bowman?
we'll give you
Barney Bowman?
No, it was Joe Beavers in 2003.
Oh, shit, right.
7-8 this one you should get. 7-8 suited versus 8 king off, all in pre-flop. Does 7-8 suited have 38% equity, 40% equity, or 42% equity?
What's the other hand? Ace king off?
Ace king off against 7-8 suited.
42% equity.
Correct. He's on the board 1 out of 3. Which Norwegian player famously won an online 180-person tournament in 2007 without looking at hole cards?
Oh, Annette Oberstad.
Correct. Who has the most Hendon mob cashes? Chris Dowling or Big Mick G?
Oh, Jesus. Chris Dowling.
It's not. It's Big Mick G with 42.
Sorry,
Chris only has 39. We thought you might.
That's tough now. Come on.
We thought that might fool some people. Which WSOP main event champion said, "Show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser"?
I haven't got a Scoob. He's like someone old, yeah. Jamie Gold.
Or dead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Chip Reese.
I'm
No.
afraid not. It
No,
was
I don't
Stu
know.
Unger.
All
Last
right.
question.
Oh,
On June 23rd, 2013, Tom Kitt won a $400 deep stack in Vegas for $67,000. How many players were in the field?
1,094.
I'm afraid it was 939.
Right.
But listen, not too bad. Actually, I think it was pretty bad. But
Yes, it's okay.
but thank you very much for
That's
taking part.
Just a minute, Chris.
I want to say thank you very much for coming in.
No worries.
That was great to have you. And Die Trying is going to be playing us out.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's it. Listen to the words. Gotta try it, man.
Thanks a million, Tom Kitt.
Desperately wanting you by my side to be my baby on Sunday afternoon. The talking is cheap and it's a pack of lies. Should call the lady, say see you soon. It's hard sometimes to get your goals straight, to find your way. And I miss my best friend. Got a one-way ticket, I flew away. Don't try to hide. Keep on playing. Keep on winning. It hurts inside. Gotta keep on playing. Keep on winning. But die trying. Walking in circles and we're holding strangers' hands. Feeling comfy, but not for long. Waiting for someone come and hit you with the plan. But then no one gonna hear your song. It's hard sometimes to get your goals straight, just to find your way. And I miss my best friend. Got a one-way ticket, flew away. Don't try to hide. Keep on playing. Keep on winning. It hurts inside. Gotta keep on playing, keep on winning, or die. She won't wait for me. 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 She won't wait for me.